Y'all, I'm picking a few vegetables and I'm doing some garden maintenance. Come with me. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I am Kim and I am going to be doing some garden maintenance, cleanup. I might even harvest a few things. Today is July 6th and I was home all week. We had a holiday this week. And then for the month of June, I was gone 3 weeks out of 4. And my garden, as some people have been saying in the comments, has been on autopilot. Now, with it being on autopilot, there's nobody maintaining the weeds. There's nobody, doing all of those garden maintenance things that need to get done. And so that's the plan today. And as I'm doing garden maintenance, you never know. I might need to harvest something along the way, and I'm bringing you with me. So it's going to be a variety of things, some seed planting, some harvesting, and some cleanup. The first thing I want to do is share with you some things that were not on autopilot like I wanted them to be. And so I had some issues. And I want you to see those issues and how we're going to try to recover from them. So let's do that first. I am over by my dwarf tomato GreenStalk tower, and unfortunately, it doesn't look so good, y'all. We had a tragedy over here, and so I had my cell phone as I was talking about this, so I am going to, while I'm cleaning this up, I will cut in a video explaining what happened here. And y'all, I'm devastated about this tower. There were so many tomatoes on it. But anyway, here's the video. I'll cut it in and show you, or at least explain to you what happened over here. And I am just going to start trying to clean it up while you enjoy that video. Let me show you my latest disaster. So this is my GreenStalk dwarf tomato planter, and y'all, I messed up, and I messed up really, really bad. So I had not been paying attention to this planter at all, and you see it has wheels on it, and I did not lock the wheels of this particular planter at all. And my girls played around it. We walked around it. The planter kept inching its way to the edge of the sidewalk. And y'all, it fell off the edge of the sidewalk right here. It fell off and fell completely over into this space here. I broke over half of the tomato plants. I broke the trellising and support system. I mean, like, it broke. So I took my time and slowly tried to get it set back up. I'm trying to save as many plants as possible. I'm going to let it go for at least a week so I can see if anything's going to get happy again, or what all did I kill. I'm going to clean those pockets out, and I will replace those pockets with something. But most of the tomatoes are completely bent over like this. They bent and broke in different places, like so. And it's just so much damage. I just don't know how bad it is at this point. So I'm going to keep it watered. I am going to give it a fertilizer as well, a liquid fertilizer, and I am going to try to save as much of it as I can. And if you're going to have wheels on your planter, you absolutely need to make sure once you get your planter where you want it to be, that you lock those wheels down. So that's my mistake. Remember, you need to lock your wheels. Always lock your wheels. You can't just lock one. You need to lock all of your wheels. And just, pay attention to where they're located. Y'all, I am devastated. devastated. This was going to be the best year ever on this particular planter, and I didn't lock the wheels. You have to make sure you lock your wheels and make sure you have it on an even surface. And so a storm didn't take me out. The wind didn't take me out. I took myself out by not doing something as simple as locking the wheels. I am going to try to clean it up. I'm going to try to save what I can. There's still some tomatoes that are doing very well on here. And then there's some that are horrible. You can see all the damage. But like I said, I'm going to save as much as I can. Now, while I'm working on this one, there is another area in the garden. Yes, another that didn't go quite as expected this year, but that's okay. So let me share that video as well while I continue to clean up what I can of this GreenStalk. Now, you know, there's plenty other mistakes as well, but wanted to share that one with you. There's something else that's going on in the garden. I had an amazing peach harvest. The peaches were delicious. I enjoyed them, and I came back from my trip. So here's my peach tree. This is the peach tree that I harvested all of the peaches off of. I harvested all of them. I came back from my work trip, and so let's just head on over to the other area because I have 3 peach trees. I came back from my trip, and this peach tree right here, which had more peaches on it than the other 2 put together, not one peach was left on this tree. Not one. Not one. Now, I don't know if my squirrels became upright and became bipedal and got some hands and can talk. In other words, did some kids come by and wipe me out or what? I'm not sure what happened because I wasn't here, but not one peach was left. No peaches were on the ground. Nothing was half eaten. Nothing was left behind. So I really believe I had pesky kids come by and wipe me out. So after that happened, I went ahead and harvested every peach from the 3rd peach tree over by the one that I did get an amazing harvest. So I harvested them all early. They weren't ready yet. So they're really small. I captured the weight anyway because we're still going to enjoy them. But I lost the rest of my peach harvest, I believe, to some kids because I was just away so much. So peaches are done for the year. That's all we're going to get. And it was still a good harvest. It was the first year. So next year, I know even more peaches are going to come in. I'm going to have to put more cameras around my property because I am on a side street right here. So here's the side street that I live on, and I'm on a corner, and I have lots and lots of neighbors and people I don't know walking up and down the street all the time. So I got to figure out how to keep people away from my garden so I can enjoy my food, or my family or my friends, but not strangers enjoying my fruit. But anyway, we got a harvest. It was a good harvest. I enjoyed the harvest. And now I got to think about my plan for next year so I can enjoy even more of that harvest. I've been traveling so much, I just took my eye off the ball. I wasn't paying attention to those fine details like I normally do. But that's okay. It's okay. I've already cried over it. Okay, I didn't really cry, but I wanted to cry. But that's okay. It's going to be all right. We're going to get it back. I have hundreds of tomato plants throughout my garden, so I still have plenty. We are not short for the year by any means. So I will finish cleaning these up, and then I will bring you back as I'm working on something else. All right, we're going to call this good. We're going to see if it comes back after a little fertilizer and maybe a week of just recovering. You know, when you're in the hospital, right, you go through triage, you have surgery, and then you need that time to recover. So this planter is in recovery phase, and we'll just see what happens. Let's go do something else. While I was over here, I went ahead and gave this GreenStalk a little hair trim as well. Now these are dwarf tomatoes in the bottom of this green stalk, and dwarf tomatoes, you really don't have to cut all of this foliage back. But I like to do that so I can make sure I have plenty of airflow in my towers. And so I cut some, but not all, of the greenery back just to make sure that I had good airflow in this particular tower, especially down low where all of these tomatoes are, especially since I've lost quite a few tomatoes on the one right behind me. In this tower, there are tomatoes in the bottom. In the bottom, what is that, 2 tiers. And then in the top 2 tiers, I have broccoli, which, by the way, I see broccoli forming. It's a purple broccoli. I didn't think I was going to get any. And what else do I have up there? The cucumbers. And we've been harvesting cucumbers off of here already, and there's quite a few more on here. And lots of bees buzzing around, which means they're going to do all the pollinating I need for these cucumbers. These are SMR cucumbers. And in the very top, I have carrots, and I had some lettuce. I went ahead and pulled all the lettuce out, but I am going to replant that lettuce, if not today, tomorrow, soon. It's the best way I know how to put it. Soon, first chance I get. But let's go ahead and harvest this one cucumber. So this is a Wisconsin SMR. It is the earliest cucumber I have in my garden, and I've harvested now, what, 3 or 4 cucumbers off of this green stalk. So we will be enjoying this. Let's move over and do something else. And I have a tomato plant in here, which is what is it? It's a true black brandywine, and there's at least a dozen tomatoes on here, so it's looking pretty good. But I also put one silver slicer tomato plant in here, and it's coming up. It honestly doesn't look the best, but it's coming up, and it had blooms on it. And there's my first silver slicer cucumber, and this is one of my mom's favorites, so she will enjoy that cucumber. While I'm over here, I might as well grab some peppers. Here's another one of those yellow monsters, even though that one right there is not a monster. I mean, this purple Zulu, boy, it's doing really, really well. These are actually purple bells. I don't think this is a Zulu. This is a purple bell pepper, not a Zulu, because the skins are thicker. And this right here is a Zulu. It looks just like a purple bell, but it has a thin skin, thin flesh. A couple more banana peppers. There's a banana. 2 banana peppers. Y'all look at that right there. That's my habanada. So it's almost to size. It's going to turn orange, I believe. So they're finally coming on. That's a jalapeno. It's not hot. So there are 3 jalapenos. All right. So this was my pansy GreenStalk vertical planter. I've removed all of the pansies already. I just threw them on the ground over there. I'll get my daughter to pick them up. And since I took the pansies out, I already have a few petunias that I've spaced throughout this vertical planter. And I transplanted some of my collard greens over here. I had a couple collard greens in a spot that just wasn't working, so I pulled those out and I put those in here. And so we are going to replant this entire GreenStalk vertical planter with collard greens and lettuce. And so it's getting to be a little late in the year, honestly, for lettuce, especially with as hot as it's been lately. But we're going to put some lettuce in here anyway, and we're going to try. But for the lettuce for this tower, I'm going to show you where I have been growing my lettuce from seeds so I could take them and transplant them in. And so y'all, this is the lazy way to start your lettuce. In this pot right here, I sprinkled in some lettuce seeds. I just sprinkled them in. I keep this watered every time I go, and I water all of the rest of the planters around me here. And now that the lettuce is of size, right? So it's large enough. I'm just pinching it out, and we're gonna move it over into the GreenStalk. Y'all, that's the cheap way, or I should say, that's the lazy way. Now, I could have left the lettuce in here, honestly, because it gets morning sun, but not evening sun. But I figured this is the best way to start some transplants. And I have some more over here. I think this is Pablo, I think. It's a heading lettuce, I think. And I could be wrong. Now let's go over there and transplant it into that tower. I've put in some fertilizer into each of the pockets, including the pockets that have the petunias in them. I went ahead and added fertilizer to those pockets as well. So I fully fertilized it. It's been raining on it for a couple of days. So hopefully we will be able to take these and just transplant them in. I'm just going to sit them in each of the pockets right now. And we will see if they take off. Some of these are kind of small, but we're going to see if we can make it work. And I've done it before, but that doesn't mean it's going to work again. And every week I will show you how this is doing. So you'll be able to see if this worked or not. And if it doesn't work, y'all, I'll just keep trying. I like to try different things. Doesn't mean it's going to always work. So I got lettuce in the top 2 tiers, and from the 3rd tier down to the 7th tier. So for 5 tiers, I'm going to put in collard greens. My Morris heading collard greens are not really coming in good this year, y'all. I think my seeds have gotten way too old. So I'm going to need to purchase some more of those seeds, because that is my favorite, but they're just not germinating. So I do have these collard greens, which are called champion collard greens, and they're doing really well. It's a much thicker green than I prefer, just to be honest with you. I don't like them that thick, but that's okay. I have a family friend who said that, and I'm growing for this family friend, that their father said that they dreamed that they were eating my collard greens. And so I need to grow some more collard greens, y'all, because I need him to be able to eat my collard greens. We call him Grandpa. So we want Grandpa to be able to eat some of my collard greens this year. We have been providing potatoes and peppers. I think some radishes so far. What else have they gotten? No tomatoes yet, because they're not coming in heavy enough. I think that's it so far. But the harvest is starting to get heavier, so I will have cabbage for them, turnips, all of those kind of things here very soon. So we're going to plant these champion collard greens. Now, I like to put, I don't know, about 4 different collard greens per pocket, because I like to pick my young. But with germination issues and the fact that, honestly, collard greens is a cool season crop. They like a little bit of frost. There's no frost in sight anytime soon when I'm hitting 95-degree temperatures here lately. So I'm going to plant them a little heavier than I normally would. And then I'll pull them out and transplant them to other places as needed, which I've done with some of the ones you see already in here. That's exactly what I did for those. I need to start paying attention though, because I may have filled some of those pockets twice. Oh man. All right, so I got the seeds in. The seeds need to be planted about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch deep. I just sprinkled them on top. I'm taking some of this soil from where I had planted potatoes and harvested them. Here's some extra soil. We're going to throw this on top. All right, we got this one all planted up. We got transplants in the top, and we have seeds in the bottom. That's another project done. Let's move to something else. Okay, this complete metal raised bed is finally empty. I have potatoes throughout this metal raised bed. I believe there's one more video you will see at some point in time of me harvesting the last of these potatoes, but I need to get it planted back up. So what I am doing in this bed, and I've already planted both ends of it, so let me tell you what I've already done. So I had some leftover Rocky Mountain russet potatoes from last year that had come up. They had all kinds of eyes and on it, so they had sprouted. So I added some of them to the end of the bed here because I didn't buy any russet seed potatoes this year because they always do so poorly in my garden. But I'm having such a good time in this metal raised bed. So this is a Vego garden metal raised bed. There's a link below if you're interested. But the potatoes did so well in here that I'm going to try it. And I had some that had sprouted, so I put them in. So Rocky Mountain russet. Here's a picture of Rocky Mountain russet potatoes, just so you can see what they're supposed to look like. And let's see if we can get any. So that's what I have on this end. So they're already in, I fertilized, and I've already mulched. On the end down here, on the other side, I put in some green beans. And so they're called Roma 2 green beans. They're a flat green bean. So here's a picture of it because my family friend, or grandpa as we like to call him, he likes the big thick green beans, the big flat thick ones. And I didn't really grow any like that this year. So I went out, I found a pack of seeds just for him so grandpa can have some of the wide flat green beans. I think they're more like Italian style, I think is what it is. But I planted this whole backside here with green beans. Now they haven't come up yet because I just did it a couple of days ago, but that's what's down there. Now in this space right here that I got in between, I found some more potatoes, y'all. I found some potatoes that's sprouting. I have a few banana potatoes left, a few larete peppers left. These are fingerling potatoes, both of these are. I also found downstairs, I found these potatoes sprouting. And so I believe these are German butterball. I could be wrong. I really don't know what they are, but it's something that I grew last year. Actually, I grew these in the winter and they've started sprouting. And so we're gonna put these in here. These are called Sharpomere, and I did not buy any more seeds for the Sharpomere this year. They didn't do well for me. But here's some that are starting to come up from where I grew them this past winter indoors. And so we are going to replant these. And then I found one purple Viking that we're going to replant. So I'm trying to get sustainable, right? I don't want to have to buy seed potatoes. So let's get these in. And then what else? I say we start with that. Let's see how much room we got left. And then I might put something else in this bed, but let's start with that. So the first thing I need to do, or what I've already done, is I've got my irrigation back in. Last time I put my drip irrigation in when I already had potatoes sprouting. The best time to put your drip irrigation in is before you transplant or before your seeds come up. So I've already reestablished my drip irrigation. And if you're interested in how to set up drip irrigation, I have a video on that. So I'll put a link below on how I set up my drip irrigation. There are many different ways on how to do it. This is just how I like to do it. And so I got that set up before my potatoes come up this time. And now I'm going to put some fertilizer in here. And at this point in the season, y'all, I'm just trying to keep the harvest coming so I don't put all of the same nutrients in, right? So when I run out of my blood, my fish, my bone meal, that's it. I'm not going to buy any more the next year. So I'm going to use whatever fertilizer I can put my hands on. So I just happened to be at Costco. And when I was at Costco, they had this on sale. So this is the Miracle Grow Shake and Feed. It's all purpose. And so this is what we're going to use. And it now says that it has feather meal, bone meal, earthworm casting, and kelp in it. So It contains natural ingredients to feed microbes in the soil. So y'all, this is what we got. This is what we're going to use. It's not my first choice, but I will use whatever I can put my hands on. Now, I did empty a couple of my pots. No, I didn't, just one. I emptied one pot into this bed. I saw that the soil was getting kind of low. So we did empty one pot into this bed. And that's what I do every year. I top my beds off with my containers. So all of my pots, I empty them at the end of the year. I either put it in a huge, like 90-gallon trash container or a tote, or I top off my wooden raised beds, or this year to be my metal raised beds. But I'm not finished with my pots. Now let me be clear. We are not finished with the pots. So I can't empty all my pots in yet because I need to succession plant. So we will be putting something else in most of those pots. So when you're putting your seed potatoes in, you always want to put it with the eyes facing up. And since I already have russet potatoes in here, I am going to move down just a bit here. And I am going honestly about, what is this? That looks like about 6 inches deep. And we're going to get 5 in here. Let me lay them out so I can make sure I can space them out right. I don't know, 6 inches seems kind of deep, but we will see what we get. 4 to 6 inches. I'm not going to hill them up, but I don't want them smothered to the point where they don't sprout. So, and I am not going to put the banana peppers in here. I'm going to put those in my last fabric bag, because fabric bags do really well, and it helps when I don't water the way I'm supposed to. So I can put it in a fabric bag. I can put them over there. And so when this bed is being watered with the drip irrigation, as well as the one beside it, the water comes out the bottom and it'll get the bottom of that fabric bag wet. So that's what we would do with these. So this is a 10-gallon, I believe. Yes, a 10-gallon fabric bag. And my fabric bags did better than my 7-gallon plastic pots. So we're gonna get these potatoes in here. I'm doing 4 for this pot, and that's just how many I happen to have. Gonna add a little soil to it, top it off. So the pot has plenty of soil in it. A little fertilizer to the top. Gonna mix it in. Banana potatoes are planted, and they're gonna sit right here so they can enjoy the water coming off of these 2 beds from the bottom up. And of course, I still need to water it. Already, I think is how you say it. Potatoes in. All right, they're all in. We need to cover them up with straw. And I saved straw just for that. And so you say, why are you putting straw on it? The straw helps with the moisture of the bed, even though I didn't have a moisture problem in this bed. But the straw helps with that. There's straw for this pot back here as well. Okay, all right. We got this part of the bed planted. And I really think that I have room for something right here. Not a lot of something, but something. And so I think I want to put some cabbage up here. Y'all, I went to my local nursery and I was trying to find some collard green transplants, just in case, right? Just in case they had a few laying around. And all of their vegetables were $1 for a pack of 4, all of them. No matter what there was, whether we're talking tomatoes, peppers, it didn't matter what it was. Whatever they had left in stock, they were trying to get rid of, y'all. So I bought some of everything. So this late flat Dutch, I was trying to grow it over at the neighbors. And this happens to be one of the plants that rabbit seemed to love so much. So it was good to be able to pick some of those transplants up. This area gets shade in the evening. So hopefully, and it's super late in the season, and these are super root bound, but we're gonna see if they'll grow. There's shade here from the evening sun, so that might give it a little protection. And it's too high for the little rabbit to get in here and want to mess with it. So hopefully, we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, y'all, that we can get a little more cabbage. And since it's so root bound, I'm pulling the roots off the bottom there to try to promote it to start growing again. I mean, I'm surprised they're still alive, just to be honest with you, because they were so root bound. But there they are. Now this whole bed is planted out again. Now the question comes in, what do I do from a standpoint of supporting? Since I do have potatoes in here and I like to support my potatoes. So y'all, I'm gonna put my supports back in place is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna put it back in place. Okay. So I really don't need support down there on those green beans. I really need the support up here on this side over here, because this is where the potatoes are. All right, we got it back in place. And I know it's not the prettiest, but it did the job earlier, and hopefully it'll do the job again. So this bed is fully planted out again. All right, I'm losing my shade. It's almost midday. It's hot. The sun is on me. So we're going to finish up these onions, plant just a couple of things, and we're going to call it a day. So these onions right here are, I think they're called Eclipse. They are called Eclipse. And they've been done, honestly, for a very long time. The necks are all bent over. Eclipse is not a big onion. This is the first year I've grown it, but I've had seeds for a minute. But it's more of a flat type onion. There's an Eclipse. We're gonna get these picked, and they're much smaller than I really wanted them to be. But we're gonna get them picked, and we're gonna get them curing in the garage. And again, they're not very big, but I got some bigger ones we're gonna pick too. Now, I haven't started weighing my onion yet. I'm gonna wait and weigh them once they finish curing so that I'm not weighing the stems. Now, that is not Eclipse. That's planted in the wrong place there, as is this one. And these onions are much smaller, and they're not that super sweet onion like I like, but I had the seeds. So I grow up whatever seeds I got, I'm gonna make use of them. So there's my Eclipse harvest. I'm gonna go pick some red onion, and then we will pick the big onion. So I have some little bitty red onion right here. And honestly, these have been done longer than any onion I have in the garden. But they were so small, I was like, I'm just not gonna worry about them. But you know what? I'm gonna pick them anyway. Throw them in some beans or something, whole. And at least we're using everything from the garden. Now let's go pick the big onions. So over here, I have Spanish sweet onion. I have both yellow and white Spanish sweet onion. Some of the tops are laid over on these, and some are still going. So we will leave those, but we will harvest all of those where the tops are laid over. Some of these had been over, so they weren't getting good airflow, which I think caused them to die back early, back here. But, you know, hey, it's a decent size. I have bigger ones, so it's not like they're all big and they're not all small. I got a variety. Now this one bent over prematurely, so let me show you this. So this onion right here, the neck is actually pretty hard, but because these were so heavy, it bent it over early, and so it didn't bulb up as nicely as the other one. So if your greenery gets really long, cut it off, give it a haircut, and it will keep the neck nice and strong. It'll bring in new greenery and it'll bulb up. I'm gonna grab a carrot. Woo-hoo-hoo! Look at that carrot. Okay, y'all. All right, I'm not doing carrots yet. Okay, I'll come back. We're gonna do carrots too. Just a few carrots, but let's get these onions put up. Let's come back and grab some carrots. And that sun just came back to me. All right, so this is the last onion harvest, or should I say the first onion harvest. And you see, they're nice, they're dried back. I could actually cut these little tops off and take them inside. But that's another day's job. That's not what we're doing today. So I'm gonna get the rest of these onions down here on this bottom shelf. I'm gonna get them drying. To dry the onion, just make sure that the bulbs are in one layer. It doesn't matter so much about the stems because that's what we're drying, but you don't want your bulbs on top of each other. Whew, goodness, nice breeze in here. I'm actually in my garage. This is the area we're going to use for drying this year. I got the onions down there. I think I got them mostly on one layer. Let's go harvest some carrots. Okay, all right. That was the first one from this bed anyway. That's a beautiful carrot. I think this is St. Valerie. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, perfectly formed carrot. Now, you think I can get a dozen? Half a dozen? I just got lucky on one carrot. Is that what it is? I pulled out one and it just happened to be the only big carrot. This feels like a good one. There we go. So I had to plant my carrots twice. So some of these are ready, very few, because the first time I planted them, they didn't do very well. So I don't think I'm going to get a dozen. There's a nice one. Look at that. Woohoo! I don't know, y'all. I just got to kind of pick through them a little bit. All right, I better stop. Most of these are not big enough. But I did see something else over here that we are going to get besides this weed. Ugh. And there are plenty of weeds over here. But I went and got my scissors or my shears because we are getting this eggplant, y'all. We got an eggplant. An eggplant. Carrots and eggplants. All right, y'all. I'm tired. It's hot. The sun is on me. We harvested a few things, not a lot, because this was really about garden maintenance, not harvesting. But I do want to share with you the small harvest that I did get today. And so here beside me, on one of the sides of me anyway, will be the total quantities from a weight standpoint of the vegetables that I harvested today. But I mean, we trimmed the tomatoes back. We refilled that potato bed with more potatoes and a few cabbage. And y'all, I got some weeds up. The garden is looking better. I'm feeling better about the day since my garden was kind of getting out of hand. So we're getting back on track. But there's the totals. I hope you enjoyed hanging out while I'm working in the garden today. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and come back again and see me real soon. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner.